Hi everyone, welcome to the visual guide for Castrum Meridianum. This is the second 8-man dungeon you'll encounter near the end of the main story questline. My name is Mistech, and I'll be your dungeon guide. This instance yields 100 tomes of philosophy and is also a great place to spirit bind your gear. As such, you'll come across a lot of people farming it. This is also the instance where all the OMFG, watch cinematics in the run, not on my time drama comes from. There are a lot, and I mean a lot, of cinematics in this one. While I feel for both parties in this argument, keep in mind that a few of these cinematics can happen while you're in the middle of a fight, and will ultimately screw up certain mechanics that people use to make the run as fast as possible. If in doubt, just communicate. It's best to decide with your group before the first pull what people are actually looking to do. Since at this point, most groups are looking to complete this dungeon as fast as possible, I'll be focusing a bit on the most efficient way to pull trash for tanks. With a good group, these runs can be as fast as 25 to 30 minutes, making it the most efficient way to farm tomes of philosophy. If you look at your duty list, we have a number of seemingly complicated objectives to complete. However, these are all accomplished in a fairly linear fashion as we progress through the instance. The first few steps involve deactivating searchlights. You'll notice that once you deactivate them, large groups of mobs will disappear from the area. Note that if you pull these before deactivating the searchlights, you will have to fight them. As such, it's always best to deactivate any nearby searchlights before progressing. No sense in pulling useless trash, right? Here you can bypass most of the trash by sticking to the left of the path. If you haven't noticed by now, all mobs in this game body pull by direct line of sight only. This means you can literally run behind a mob, breathe heavily down its neck, and it still won't notice you. Awesome, right? It makes skipping certain pulls trivial. The first boss we encounter is the Blackmill. He is a typical tank and spank, and will also spawn a number of adds throughout the fight, 2 from each door. The off-tank should grab hate from the healers, and the adds can be AoE down fairly quickly. Other than that, it's a really straightforward fight. Avoid the AoE as usual and kill the adds. To access the next area, we need to slide through the garbage disposal. Classy. In this section, there are 2 patrolling magitechs that don't have to be pulled. Also, be careful to avoid the searchlights as stepping into them will spawn more adds. The explosives that you pick up from the vanguards are used in the next objective. Note that you only need to pull the right side here. On the left, anyone can easily sneak past as long as they stay behind each mob to get to the pipe. Destroy each pipe and continue on. Again, running behind trash will never pull it. Boss number 2, the Vanguard F1. One tank will take the boss against the far left door and grab hate on any adds that spawn there, while the others can grab the adds that spawn from the other 2 doors. This is similar to the first fight, only with more adds and a few more AoE zones to watch out for. Kill the little adds and turn back on the boss. The third wave of adds has a magitech that can be ignored. If you're tanking the boss, make sure not to get hit by the frontal cone. It does a high amount of damage, and with all the smaller adds beating on you, or maybe your healer pausing to scratch their nose, you might die. After this fight, we meet up with Sid, who will now join us throughout the instance. In this section, we can actually use the Mark 43 mini cannons against them. What I normally do is grab the trash in front of the cannons and pop as many cooldowns as necessary to stay alive while the DPS gets into the cannons and nukes them. For anyone unfamiliar with the cannons, clicking on them will pull up your pet action bar with the ability to bomb a targeted area. A few hits from each cannon will obliterate the trash, hopefully before your tank dies. The group should hang out for a moment while the tank grabs the Colossus and drags him back into the range of the cannons. I love these cannons, they trivialize the rest of the instance. Keep in mind that the cannons do take damage, so if possible, keep the Colossi away from the cannons as their massive column attack can easily destroy any cannon it hits. Use stuns as necessary. You want to keep these cannons as alive as possible to make clearing the rest of the instance as efficient as possible. This next set of trash can be temporarily avoided for now. Sid won't move forward until you do kill it, so don't forget about it. The group can run around to the next set of cannons. Once they're close to them, you can pull the trash and pull them all the way back to be obliterated by the cannons. Once all the trash is dead, Sid will come and activate the third boss. The third boss is, you guessed it, one big guy and a bunch of adds. Go figure. The tank should position the boss in the corner of this ramp, while the healers stand on the opposite corner. This allows the off-tank to easily pick up the adds as they come around the corner and up the ramp when the healers pull threat. As usual, avoid the AoE. Near the end of the fight, a large vanguard will spawn. Again, DPS can ignore this and just burn the boss down. At this point, you could run all the way back around, but it is easier to return to the beginning of the instance and take the shortcut. The group should run back to the cannons and sit in them. The rest of the trash can actually be pulled back to those cannons. Once all of these searchlights are deactivated, we enter another cinematic that shows us getting attacked by an airship. We need to use the anti-air cannons to bring it down. But before we do that, we have 2 more colossi to deal with. They spawn as soon as the airship is hit once and will begin to attack the anti-air cannons. Tanks can pick these up and run them back to the cannons. If, for example, you fall asleep at the keyboard from mindlessly spamming CM and lose your cannons before the colossi are down, well, let's just say there are always options. What can I say though? Cannons make you lazy. Since the AK nerfs, you'll be seeing a lot of this place, so you really gotta find the fun in anything you can. Once they are down, the group is free to destroy the airship, which will activate the last boss. The last boss is Livia Sasjunius. That is the first and last time I'm going to attempt to say that name. This boss is technically a 2-for-1. In the first encounter, the boss isn't traditionally tanked or damaged. Seriously. She does and takes very little damage. Her enmity table is also scripted to attack the last person to shoot her with a cannon, so keep this in mind. The goal here is to interact with the missiles, which will cause the weird pen-looking things to come and load the cannons. Once the cannons are loaded, they become usable. The simplest way to handle this is to wait until all 4 cannons are loaded and then smash her all together. The last person that hits her will end up with hate and should keep her in the middle as still as possible. Waiting until all the cannons are loaded before firing also makes the ad spawns more manageable. You can think of this as a cycle of loading, firing, dealing with ads, and repeat. After 2 full rounds of cannon fire, the boss should die. In the last encounter, the boss can be tanked. This fight turns into an easy tank and spank with the usual AoE to avoid. Note that if you get caught in her point-blank AoE, you will be debuffed with paralysis, so try to avoid it. And you guessed it, ads will spawn throughout the fight. These ads fixate on a certain player until they are dead, so the easiest way to do this is to run to the boss and AoE them all down. Near the end, a Colossus will spawn that can be off-tanked and ignored. There you go, the easiest 100 tomes of philosophy you'll ever make. Up next, we have the Praetorium, the epic finale to the story questline. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.